In this video, we're going to look at how organism interactions affect populations. So one individual is just an organism. A group of the same species, like a herd of zebra, is a population. And then a community are populations that interact. So zebras and elephants and lions and cheetahs and all of those things interacting, that would be a community. Now, communities represent just the living parts, so the biotic factors, and the abiotic factors of water, availability, and temperature. All of these things organisms are interacting with, and that creates an ecosystem. Population growth is affected by a number of things. But the first thing to understand is that organisms will naturally reproduce as much as possible. The meaning of life is to have as many babies as possible, so organisms are going to reproduce as much as they can. The thing is that there are limiting factors or things that limit the number of individuals within ecosystems that is going to control how many individuals there can actually be. So limiting factors are things like resources, food, water, space. Predation, competition, that can be both within the population itself or with another population. And then ecosystem changes, so anything that changes with the things above, like, for example, a change in food availability. So all of this creates what's called a carrying capacity. So that represents how many individuals of a particular species a particular ecosystem can support. And this is going to be based on the limiting factors in that ecosystem for that particular species. So for example, an ecosystem has a higher carrying capacity for something like ants than it does for something like bears. Now, populations will change over time as they interact with these limiting factors. So for example, when there is no limitation, so when a population is either small or just got to an area, for whatever reason, if there are no limiting factors at that time, a population is going to grow exponentially. And that is shown in the red highlighted area of this graph. And as you can see, that population is increasing faster and faster over time, because the birth rate is going to be much higher than the death rate. So there's nothing to slow down this population. Now, obviously, this does not happen forever because there are no ecosystems where resources are unlimited. So eventually, that population is going to start to reach a point where resources do become limited. At that point, we are looking at logistic growth. And the growth is going to slow down as that population starts to reach the carrying capacity, and then it will stabilize somewhere right around the carrying capacity. So the birth rate and the death rate will be about equal. They can fluctuate a little bit, but they'll be about equal and keep that population right about at the carrying capacity.